throwing a long jab of his own.
In the brutal, unforgiving world of mixed martial arts, where chaos reigns and legends are broken as quickly as they are made, there was one man who defied the very nature of the sport. He wasn't the most violent, the loudest, or the most terrifying. He was something far more dangerous. He was perfect.
The new welterweight champion!
Unbelievable shot!
This is the story of a bullied kid from Saint Isidore, Quebec, who conquered his own fears to become the most dominant champion the UFC has ever seen. A man who hated to fight, but loved to win. This is the story of Georges St-Pierre. This is his golden era. Long before the bright lights and the championship gold, Georges St-Pierre was a target. Skinny, shy, and relentlessly bullied, he found his salvation not in aggression, but in discipline. At the age of 7, his father enrolled him in Kyokushin karate. It wasn't about becoming a fighter. It was about building an unbreakable spirit.
Look at that. Is it every cover? Right for the takes. But what appears to be the guard position voice takes the mount. Times. Bill, that was a tap. I did not see the tap. I saw it 4 times.
But the dream was ignited one night when a teenage Georges saw something that would change his life forever. Royce Gracie at UFC 1, a smaller man using technique and leverage to defeat giants. In that moment, Georges didn't see violence. He saw a chess match. He saw a path. His journey wasn't glamorous. He worked as a garbage collector and a bouncer, funding his own dream.
It was the worst job I ever did. I even hated it even more than fighting because it was very stressful. I was bouncing in a hip-hop club and I'm not very big. A lot of my coworkers were big guys that were more scary looking than I am. So when I used to go and tell someone, hey, I don't know, you throw a bottle, man, you need to accompany me outside, he used to laugh at me. My coworker arrived, it takes a long time, so I had to go myself and carry him out. I carry him out, so I had to do this many times and I hated it. I hated it. I don't look tough. I wasn't known at the time. Maybe I was the most dangerous guy in the club, but nobody knew.
While other fighters relied on raw talent, Georges was building something different, a system. He was an athlete, yes, but first and foremost, he was a scientist of combat.
Together a great camp now, though, man. You go into so many different great guys. John Danaher, who's one of the most underrated or underappreciated jiu-jitsu coaches in MMA in the world, really. That guy's a bad motherfucker.
John Danaher is highly regarded as one of, if not the greatest mind in submission grappling, and George would stop at nothing to train with this man.
George, when I first met him,
I was a garbage man.
He would jump on a bus from Montreal to New York. No, that's a long bus ride. He would come down on Friday afternoon when he finished work as a garbage man, stay for the weekend, and then late on Sunday night he would jump on a bus all the way back to Montreal and work as a garbage man. That's an extraordinary commitment for a young man. I've always said George is the only athlete that I ever coached who taught me more than I taught him.
His rise was meteoric. They called him Rush for a reason. He exploded into the UFC with a blend of athleticism and technique the welterweight division had never seen. And at UFC 65, he achieved the impossible, dethroning the seemingly invincible king, Matt Hughes. The world had a new champion, a polite, soft-spoken champion from Canada. The media was intrigued, but they wondered, was he too nice? And then, chaos. In what is still considered the greatest upset in UFC history, the 11-1 underdog, Matt Serra, did the unthinkable. He shattered the new champion. The perfectionist was beaten by the brawler. The media turned. A fluke, some said. Exposed, said others. For Georges, it wasn't about the headlines. It was about a fundamental crack in his psyche. The fear of losing had become a reality. This was the crucible. Many champions never recover from such a loss. But Georges St-Pierre did something extraordinary. He didn't break. He didn't make excuses. He went back to the laboratory. He became obsessed with eliminating variables, with becoming perfect.
A lot of things and no one was on my side and on top of that I had a bunch of personal issues. So I didn't know if I wanted if I would have come back one day, I just wanted to get out of the radar and take some time for myself. I always liked to train, you know, and it did not stop me from training and, you know, practicing mixed martial art, but the stress of the competition reached a point that it was unbearable. I decided to come back after more than 4 years because the sport changed.
Georges St-Pierre, after losing your belt, your first title defense. I know it's got to be a tough time for you. How are you feeling after the fight?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I just lost the title. I lost, period. I'm not used to that. I hate to lose, but I have to regroup and change some stuff and come back stronger.
Did you feel like you trained your best for this? You said in the ring you did the best, you're in best shape. Was there any chance you could have taken Matt Serra lightly?
I didn't take Matt Serra lightly. I don't know. I get into the fight, I was kind of stiff. I trained well and everything. I just like I felt like I was stiff and my hand I didn't let my body go. You know, it was weird. I don't know. I have no excuse. By the way, I lost. Period. You know.
What followed was the most dominant reign in UFC welterweight history. Georges St-Pierre 2.0 was a machine. He wasn't just beating his opponents, he was solving them. He took their greatest strength and made it irrelevant. He wrestled with wrestlers, struck with strikers. His fighting style was a form of tyranny, a relentless, suffocating pressure that broke men's wills. But this dominance came with a cost. As he became more calculated, a divide grew among fans. To his supporters, he was a master technician, the ultimate martial artist. To his detractors, he was point fighter who played it safe. His rivals fueled this fire. Nick Diaz famously called him out, accusing him of ducking a real fight, of being a company man. The media questioned if his methodical style was bad for the sport. What the critics didn't see was the immense pressure. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Georges confessed the truth. "I don't like the fighting. I hate it. It's unbearable. The feeling of stress, but I love to win." He wasn't a natural brawler. He was a competitor who had to conquer his own fear every single time he stepped into the octagon. This hidden context makes his dominance not boring, but incredibly brave. At the peak of his powers, he walked away. He retired on top, leaving the game behind. The legacy was secure.
Yeah, today everybody knows it's not a surprise. I announced my retirement. There's no tears. I'm very happy to do it. It takes a lot of discipline though to retire on top. It was a long process in my mind, but it's time to do it. Only a few people have done it, and I always said that I want to retire on my own and not be told to retire. So it takes disciplines, and in combat sport and full contact sport, that's how you should retire. You should retire on top, and that is very hard to do. And I'm happy I had the discipline and the wisdom to do it.
But 4 years later, the scientists saw an equation he couldn't resist: the middleweight title. At 36 years old, after a severe injury against a larger, dangerous champion in Michael Bisping, he was counted out.
In the mirror, there's nothing terrifying about you at all. You used to look like a history teacher, now you look like a stockbroker. Both of those are still...
He's gonna be beaten by a history teacher Saturday. That's what's gonna happen.
And in one stunning moment, he reminded the world. A perfectly timed left hook, a devastating finish.
St-Pierre going all out for the finish. It's over. It's over, Joe. It's over, Joe. It's over, Joe. It's over. St-Pierre has done it. He is the new UFC middleweight champion.
Georges St-Pierre became only the fourth fighter in history to win titles in 2 weight classes. It was the perfect ending. His legacy is not just in numbers, but in the blueprint he left behind. He showed that greatness isn't about being the toughest guy in the room. It's about being the most disciplined, the most prepared, and the most resilient. He overcame bullying, a career-shattering loss, and his own internal anxiety to become a king. Georges St-Pierre's story is a celebration of what it means to be a man in the modern era. It's not the absence of fear, but the courage to face it. It's not about never falling, but about how you rise after you fall. He redefined strength, proving that true power lies in intellect, humility, and an unwavering commitment to being the best version of yourself.
For well over a decade, Georges St-Pierre exemplified excellence both in and out of the octagon. And those three letters, GSP, have become synonymous with another acronym that is popular in sports, GOAT.
George!
GSP is the greatest UFC fighter to ever live.
If you were going to create the perfect mixed martial arts athlete, he would look like Georges St-Pierre. He would move like Georges St-Pierre. The man is an absolute legend.
His mindset was all about progression and being the best that he could be.
Every time GSP entered the octagon, man, he was showing something new and different and amazing.
He's such a true martial artist. He was so good at everything. And George's game evolved from a very good striker with kicks to a tremendous jab to an even better double leg and wrestling game, which he would just dominate people with. And he added into submissions, he added in the head kicks, he added in everything.
You know, he dominated pretty much everybody, not really many close fights. You know, what he did, people couldn't stop him from doing.
Everything's so calculated. So everything that you did, he already had an answer. So it was like fighting a computer program.
I think GSP's mind makes him different. You know, the way that he thinks the game and the way that he can apply it.
Strength was being extremely good everywhere.
He can strike, can wrestle, can keep you in the ground, and he was always able to find a way to win, you know.
He was like a full package of an athlete, so that's what I want to strive to be like.
He was a very respectable guy. He didn't really talk any trash about his opponents. You know, a lot of people like me just respect a guy like that.
Fires himself the way a martial artist is supposed to, and I have so much respect for that.
He is the epitome of professional fighter.
Because George doesn't give anybody enough ammo to hate him. George's career is above reproach, where you can't come out and say, I can beat him because I'm better at this than he is.
So what do you think? Was Georges St-Pierre the greatest of all time? Does his disciplined approach to combat inspire you? Let us know in the comments below. And if you believe in celebrating men who lead with strength and character, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Celebrate Men, and ring the bell so you never miss a story from the Golden Era.